Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. It's Conor. We are back here with another One Leeds video. We're back here with three things slash just the Leeds United news. Hope you're all doing really, really well today. It is Sunday. It's a beautiful day outside, isn't it? Fantastic weather. It might not be where you are, to be fair, but where I am, for once in my life, it is beautiful. And I've woken up with a little bit of a change of heart, a little bit of a fresh outlook on things. I might have had 9 hours sleep. That might be the sort of amplifier to this, but I've woken up and maybe it's 1 point towards promotion instead of 3 points lost, which at one point it was. So listen, I'm still sort of devastated that we couldn't break down 10-man Huddersfield, but I think there's things to take away. I think there's things to take away from the Huddersfield game and things that Daniel Farke, hopefully, as a very, very decent coach, will be able to establish, will be able to rectify, will be able to sort of mould into this Leeds United teams when it comes to some habitual things, which I think are creeping in. And listen, I know it's been an unbelievable run, but I think selection-wise, I think sometimes characteristic-wise, this Leeds United team this season has sort of faltered to some things, and we're going to get into that today. But before we do that, before we get into the systematic breakdown of this, please make sure you're liking the video. Please make sure you're sharing, subscribing, commenting, as always. Let's get that engagement and interaction high. We did do a video on the Patreon last night. We have got stuff on the Patreon. Go check that out. Become a YouTube member. All that beautiful stuff. We've got merch coming soon, which I'm very, very excited about, as you can probably tell over the last week. But yeah, so make sure you stay tuned to that. But let's get into a few of your comments. Morning, Conor and Leeds fans. Disappointed about the result yesterday, but we march on. No time for crying over spilt milk. Ronnie Kiprin says, morning, Conor. How are you? Hello, Brandon. All good, mate. Phil's in the building. Binky Fish is here as well. All I see on Facebook is wind up merchants. Everybody is obsessed with us. Dave, Jamie, Mickey, Marcus, how you, mate? How you, Nige? Yeah, and I think there is a little bit of, I mean, the reaction. Listen, I was coming on here and saying we're absolutely going to pelt them 3-0, but you can't win, can you? Sometimes you'll say, we'll win, you get pelters, we'll lose, we'll get pelters. I thought we'd steamroll them yesterday. I thought we'd get in the faces. They wouldn't be able to cope with us. They're a slow, sort of bang average, below average team who are going to be fighting against it all year anyway, and will be fighting against it for the rest of the next 10 years probably. But fair play to them. They stuck to a game plan and they got the result. Now, there were elements of that game that Leeds could have improved. The things that we learned, we spoke about on the full-time show yesterday. Please go check that out, everybody, if you haven't done so. We speak a little bit more about the challenges around us, but there's many things to learn from yesterday. And what I wanted to start on is the set pieces, fundamentally. I think we are missing Pascal. I keep saying this, and I'm really struggling to get away from it. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it. And we're going to get into the Romano stuff in just a little bit. But I think the set piece side of Leeds' game is huge. And even attacking set pieces, we really don't look like a threat. And whether or not there's some sort of methodical way that we can work around that, because I don't think we've got the tallest team. But I think there is a way of working it around that, whether or not it's a custom corner, short corner, infiltrate a little bit of, sort of create a different angle on the left and the right to then move players out of positions. But I think at this moment in time, it does feel a little bit hit and hope with Leeds. Attacking them is just, it's really poor. For the amount we get, for the amount we dominate possession, and for the amount we dictate the game, really, the amount of corners we get. I'd love to know how many over the last sort of 6 or 7 games we've had in terms of just a culmination of corners and what we've done with them. We've done nothing, and we do nothing with them. Now, the reason I'm mentioning corners and I'm mentioning set pieces, when you can't play through a side, when a Huddersfield, a Rotherham, a Coventry, a Stoke, a Sunderland, whoever it may be, a Sheffield Wednesday, if you cannot play through a side, if a side has got 2 banks of 4, and they are not moving, they're time wasting, they have the ball in play for a minuscule amount of minutes, what do you need to do? You need to be effective on what they're effective on, set pieces. And you need to dominate when it comes to set pieces. Listen, you've seen Manchester City, even at the top level, they became even better when they got more physical. They were always known for a slight diminutive team who struggled when it came to set pieces against the teams who effectively worked on set pieces against Man City because they couldn't play football through them. So they went to another level when Diaz, when Ake, and all these sort of, Akanji came into the club and they started really being effective on set pieces defensively and offensively because they couldn't break down teams. So these little elements, or some teams I should say, but these little elements put them to a next level because they can win at all cost. They can win every way, every shape they can win. They can play football through you. They can win the ball in the air. They can play through set pieces. They can do everything. And that's the point where Leeds are at a little bit of a crossroads at the minute, I feel, when it comes to if we can't break down a team, and we sort of had this issue a little bit with Bielsa, if we can't break down a team, there is no way we can do anything via set pieces because via set pieces, we have one offensive threat at the minute with the greatest of respect, and that is Joe Rodon. If the team's sleeping, maybe it might be Ethan Ampadu. But, Bamford, I mean, he's not a serial threat, really, is he, from set pieces? And the rest of our team is arguably below 6 foot tall. So it's easy to defend against, especially zonally for a biggish team, which you're going to get in the Championship, a physical team. So the first thing we learned yesterday, the thing that we've learned across the football calendar, in my opinion, when it's come to Leeds United, is we'll talk about defensive problems when it comes to set pieces, and that sort of leads into the same thing. Not having as much of a physical dominance in the air, not having so many presences at the back. And I think this is why Pascal coming back in, whenever he does, I'm praying he's back in for the end of the season, is massive. And I think probably fans are starting to realise now maybe how important Pascal is in that back sort of line. And I want to get on to another reason why he is so important. But yeah, I think the set pieces are huge for Leeds, and I want to hear your thoughts. Good morning, Conor. Let's hope this isn't the start of our blip. If you don't win, make sure you don't lose. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Next, though, come to Ellen Road, Fortress Ellen Road, and must win. It's too tight at the top, and we need the automatic promotion slot. Melee, yet again. What a second-rate goalkeeper with another blunder. What about Strout, Conor? Hey, Heath. He scores headers as well. Bamford, okay, on set pieces, says Brett, with his hands. Leeds fans says our set pieces is another thing we need to fix, and goals scored against in the Premier League as teams will take more advantage of it. Yeah, and I think this is it, isn't it? It's if you're not to take advantage of that, you're going to see other teams take advantage of that. I think Ipswich have got a decent amount of goals through set pieces, and as of Southampton. I think the delivery is probably a little bit more consistent than Leeds. I think we seem to have. I think the frustrating element for me, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I'd like to have a dedicated set piece taker as well. You see James, you'll see Gruev, you'll see Somerville, I've seen Nonto. We don't have a dedicated set piece taker. Now, if you've got a dedicated set piece taker, probably like a dedicated penalty taker, that individual is able to get a little bit more consistency with the flight of the ball, with the connection on the ball striking, and is probably able to, over time, put in better balls in. And if you've got a good ball striker, then the corners, the set pieces or whatever are going to be better anyway. The problem is we just fluctuate so much that the caliber of the ball coming in is naturally going to be decreased because players maybe just aren't used to taking set pieces. So they'll get one wrong, but then they don't have the opportunity to get 2, 3, 4 right. That's the big issue. So I think set pieces are, for me, the number one thing that Leeds have to be working on right now. If we can't break an opposition down, we have to be good at set pieces. We have to nick that 1-0. The ball has to bobble in off someone's arse. It does, to get us over the line. And I think that is sort of the little hidden detail, the sort of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, which Leeds need to get right, click into gear for us to really get to that, not get to that next level as such, because obviously it's going to help us in the Premier League, but even get promoted this year. We've got to start seeing maybe in the last however many games, like the guys, like 9 weeks left, 9.5 weeks left now. We cannot be letting sloppy goals in from set pieces. That yesterday was criminal. Absolutely criminal. When you come into a top of the league team who've done what we've done over 2024, and for us to concede a crap goal like that, it's not good enough. Now, just as a sort of like, a warning, I would say as well, you naturally need a better goalkeeper who isn't a flapper, but he is a flapper and he's not a commanding goalkeeper whatsoever. He's not dominant. He's not a leader at the back, in my opinion. And I think all these sort of culminates in Leeds fans Leeds fans are scared when Ilan Melier has to make a decision. You can all say you're not, but you are. You are. You're not. You're not looking at him and going, comfortable pair of hands. You're not. I don't get the most positive Ilan Melier fan. He's not going, it's all right. It's all right. Melier's coming to collect it. Melier's going to definitely catch this. We've got loads of confidence in him. They're not. They can tell you, don't get on him, all this sort of stuff. But when you're critiquing his performance as a leader at the back, as a dominant goalkeeper, he's not one. So that naturally is going to put you at a little bit of a negative. But as a team, you've got to start sorting out this defensive structure from corners. I understand that we can do a little bit of zonal and all this sort of stuff. But when you've seen Willy Gnonto marking once again the biggest player on the pitch, I do struggle with that. Yesterday, they had 2 or 3 corners from our end, which we could see. I'm literally watching Gnonto. He's nowhere near the man. And you're just hoping. You literally, they missed the post, I think, in the second half by about half a yard. And I believe that was Gnonto's man. Just, I don't feel so. I feel sorry for him, I should say. You got Somerville and Gnonto screening the biggest men in the pit on the pitch. Obviously, Rodon's picking up someone else as well, but I don't understand that. Get your biggest men to pick up their biggest men, or your more physical men to pick up their most physical men. The issue is Leeds don't have big players. So that's the big issue with this. And that's why you almost are begging for Pascal to come back in, really. Or maybe Bamford to take up, I don't know, not the front post. Don't put him on the front post, which he seems to veer towards. Get him in the mixer with their centre-backs. But yeah, it just seems a little bit all over the place when it comes to the corners, in my opinion, defending and attacking. Agree with you about Melier. Yeah, if we gave away too many silly free kicks in the first half, yeah, I agree, Jay. I mean, a lot of that. I mean, it was Gnonto, wasn't it? I believe who gave a free kick away, but there are going to be stupid occasions like that. The referees are so crap at this level that you're always going to get. If a player falls down, tries to get a corner, he's going to blow up. He's going to blow up. You can't rely on them for real professionalism, because some players are con artists. We see that in the Premier League with Bruno Fernandes every week. And the referees just do the simple thing, the easy thing, to give the foul, because then they don't get the backlash from the fans, the manager, the players. So they'll just give the foul. And they do it in the Championship as well, you know. But yeah, 100%. But you can't. You've got to have your head screwed on. The issue is, I think I mentioned this yesterday, teams are going to take away what Huddersfield did yesterday. Keep the ball out of play. Go down. Get injured. If you're in the game, even if it's 0-0, go down. Get the manager complaining at the fourth official. Just waste time. And I think we're going to see that more and more and more, especially when teams are fighting to stay in the division, because that's worth more than anything. You know, they'll take a couple of yellow cards and probably a red card for that. 28 points from 30. Why are we having a meltdown? Beggars belief. Don't think we are having a meltdown, Andy. Would you play Joseph yesterday? Yeah, 100%, mate. I would have done. What else did we sort of take away from yesterday? Well, Fabrizio Romano has come out and spoken about Crysencio Somerville, which is really, really positive. And he said that apparently Chelsea have had absolutely no contact with him, and Leeds United have a hands-off policy with Crysencio Somerville, and he believes that this is going to continue if Leeds get to the Premier League, which is great news. It's fantastic news when it comes to Crysencio Somerville, because we don't want his head being turned. We don't want anything like that. He's committed to Leeds. We know that. He spoke in the summer about, you know, wanting to stay at Leeds and prove himself. Burnley were obviously in for him. Apparently put a bid in for him. He wanted to stay at Leeds United. It's all great news. That's fabulous. And I do genuinely believe, you know, a thing I learned yesterday was we were in strife. I was really knocked off. I couldn't believe their fans' reaction. It was honestly like, you know, they were bouncing around. It's great they've stopped our winning run. It's Leeds United, but Jesus, they do hate us. I realised yesterday when I'm sat in that stand, oh my God, they hate us so much. And it is a cup final, but fair play to them. They got the result. But I took away, you know, we did get a point. And we're so used to it at the minute, getting like 2 and a bit points per game, 3 points per game, really, when you look at the winning run, that, you know, it's essential. But Southampton and Ipswich have both been there and drawn. You know, that's what you got to take into it when it's context. I'll be honest, Ipswich are scaring me a bit. They really are. And it's not, you guys know on here, it's not just because they've gone into second. If you're an OG of this fan channel, you'll know that I've been going on about Ipswich forever. They're a bit of a machine, and it's a similar blueprint to what happened with them that last season. And I don't think the rest of I think they've bought well. in January. You know, Wes Burns goes out, Nathan Broadhead goes out, but they've still got Amari Hutchinson, who's on fire at the minute, Sami Entu they got from Brighton, Connor Chaplin, who's probably been their player of the season, and George Hurst was injured in Jan, and they've gone out and bought Kiefer Moore, who I think scored about 6 or 7 goals since he's come in. So they've bought really, 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 really well. Travis, the Blackburn captain who they've got on loan, is in their midfield with Morsey every week. That seems to have worked. So, yeah, I think they're going to be there right till the end. But it is spicing up now. It really is. It really is. Um, Good manager as well, 100%. Top 2 Leeds and Ipswich. Yeah, Jay, it could be. Really could be. Yeah. Leicester have picked a bad time to bottle it. A really, really bad time to bottle it. 3 games, you can't lose at this level. The standard of that top 4 is a joke. It's so good. So, so good. So, yeah. Another thing we've learned, in my opinion, as well, and listen, there's over 450 of you in the building. Please make sure you're liking the video. It'd be great, everyone. And checking the video out from yesterday. Not reactionary whatsoever. Really calm, because I think when you have a different opinion to people, they think you're being they label you as reactionary and emotional. Not at all. Absolutely fine. I'm passionate about my club, but this is how I feel systematically. Gruev isn't the 6. He's not. He's a tidy player. Like him. And we go on about this all the time, but I'm learning sort of more. I like him. I think he's a good player, but he's tidy. He's tidy. And I think a lot of people, since he's come in, he's come into a melting pot of success. Leeds have been brilliant. He's been really good as well. But I think as a player, he's tidy. He doesn't play that many long balls. Isn't a defense splitter. Does it every now and again. I think I caught him doing it a couple of times yesterday. One went out of play, one worked. And he just ticks it over. Ticks it over in the middle. Ticks it over. Like passing, always wants the ball. Fair play to him. He's not Ethan Ampadu in that 6. He's nowhere near him. I'm sorry, he's not. In my opinion, you're here to hear my opinion. He's nowhere near him. And I've gone on about Gruev a lot, and I really like him. I think Ethan's much better in that 6. I think he's a much better footballer. I think he's more physical. I think he looks fitter and puts himself about a little bit more, even though Gruev's been excellent in the tackle. He's got more attributes all round than Gruev. So I think I feel a little bit at this moment in time like it's frustrating me because I'd enjoy seeing an Ampadu Kamara balance again. This Pascal injury is just it's galvanized us, but it's killed us in so many ways because you know it's just like right now you sort of have to stick with that partnership, which is fine, of course, and I think it'll be fine going forward. But it's frustrating for me because I think there's a level up in the midfield. I think we have literally a different level, and yesterday it really, really frustrated me because you've gone from a midfield against Chelsea who, in every aspect was superb. And then you've gone to a midfield who were just making all the wrong decisions yesterday. All the wrong decisions. For me, the game breaks down in midfield. I mean, I used to be a central midfielder at a pretty decent level. I'll always look at the central midfield, always. So I think it's the brain of the operation, it's the engine, the IQ of the operation. You know, that's where it starts, centre midfield. And that's why I've always said Ampadu needs to be in centre midfield because he's a better footballer than being centre back. Archie Gray is a better footballer than being a right back. You're a better footballer if you're a centre midfielder. 100%. I'm not having anything else. You're a centre midfielder. You are the man. And I just feel that yesterday and this season, you know, sometimes we have seen it being a little bit passive when teams are packing out that back line. And it was really frustrating yesterday because they were risk averse yesterday. And you're against the Huddersfield side with 10 men and the centre midfield is risk averse. They're not going forward. They're not pressing the action. They're not doing anything. They're just lateral side to side. And it needs to start from in there. And for me, it got to a point where Ethan got frustrated. He started getting the ball and marauding into that midfield and trying to get things working. And Rodon started doing the same things. They started coming into the midfield because the midfield wasn't doing its job. So then you saw a couple of points, Joe Rodon taking on a man to create space because the midfield wasn't doing it. Ethan was coming into the midfield to take on a man to create space because the midfield wasn't doing it. And for me, we are at our best with Ethan Ampadu as the 6. And I would argue we are at our best as well from what we've seen so far. People say it's a small sample size. No, it's not. Archie played at the start of the season in midfield. We're all forgetting this. Archie in the 8, Ethan in the 6. We desperately need Pascal back for set pieces. That is us at our complete best at this level, in my opinion. Lars says, the Huddersfield fans make me smile when they sing Leeds are falling apart again. They're the ones with their backs against the wall. Yeah, Lars, you're right. I mean, honestly, mate, the reaction was, I mean, it was great, but it was almost like comical. Like, if they'd have won the game, fair play. But Jesus Christ. Gruev plays in a 3 in defence. He's not the player we need personally. So many times, Paul. That's where I'm at with it, mate. And it's good to see a few of you agreeing. It's in the comments afterwards. I think on the live stream, a lot of you guys, and I'm fine with this bit of subjectivity, but it's the comments afterwards where it's like, you're clueless, you this, that, and the other. And I want people to have a conversation with me. That's why I love speaking to you in the lives. The commenters afterwards are always great, but they don't really elaborate. They just say, you're clueless. And it's like, okay, can we have a chat? Let's have a chat about it. Why? But I just think Gruev, I think a 4-star upgrade is the best way to describe him. I really do. I think it's a really, really intelligent way of describing him, to be honest. I think both Gruev and Kamara were too passive yesterday. Too many sideways passes. Also, Kamara has to learn to shoot if he's the 8. And Jay, it's a great point. It's a great point. He never shoots. Never, ever shoots. Archie, did you see Ipswich's goal yesterday? Everybody keeps telling me Ipswich are jammy. Ipswich are this. Ipswich are that. Ipswich are that. They shoot. Sam Morsey is a DM and he's average. He shoots. Lewis Travis shoots. Will Smallbone, Southampton, shoots. These DMs shoot. Who shoots in our side? We will try walk the ball into the net a lot of the time. And the only time you ever get a midfielder striking on goal is a free kick. That's all you ever get. We need to learn to shoot more. And we were having this conversation yesterday, Jay. They are literally, it's like an old adage from a film. I think they're trying to walk it in. IT crowd, in it, when they're talking about Wenger and they're trying to fake it. It's like they're trying to walk it in. But it's true. We try to walk the ball in. Ipswich get deflections. Ipswich, it goes in off a Plymouth player's arse. It was the most jammy goals you'll see. It'll spawn in off a defender's knee onto the bar and then in because they shoot. The midfielders shoot. The CM, the cams shoot. We don't. We try walk it in with intricate passes. There's points in that second half. In all fairness, fair play to Joel Perreault. There was at one point where he just got the ball and had a strike. It was a terrible strike. Nothing in it, no conviction. But he had a shot. The rest of the team were just passing, trying to find Somerville. Somerville, go and beat a man. That's it. That's the game plan. It's easy to defend if you're a compact block. So I completely agree with you, Jay. I think that's another thing I learned yesterday, mate. It's the lack of the application of shooting we get from any central midfielder we have on the pitch. At least what you get with Archie. You saw it in the Leicester game. You saw it in the Chelsea game. He'll get the ball and have a go. Ampadu saw it at the start of the season. Wasn't great at doing it, but he has a go. The centre midfield that we have at the minute, the balance for me is way too passive. And if the front line isn't working, they don't affect play enough for me. Let's have a look at what you're saying. What about Roberts at right back with Gray and Ampadu in the middle with Cooper next to Rodon? I know it's Cooper, but Gray and Ampadu in the middle are different class. Yeah, I mean, Ryan, you're sort of balancing one out for the other there, aren't you? But you're not wrong, mate. I mean, the only thing with Cooper is it's just calamity Coops, isn't it? I mean, God. Even in that Chelsea game, like he's like Melier. He makes me go, ooh. He just does. I'm like, oh no. You know what I mean? So there's some games which sort of work for him, I feel. But other games against a good quality team, against the higher quality team as such, imagine him up again. We saw him at St. Mary's, earlier on in the season when they just Adam Armstrong just destroyed him. And it is with Cooper. He's completely at the end of his. I mean, he's lost a yard of pace and he wasn't quick in the first place. So it's just a little bit worrying for me putting him in there. I get what you mean, but let's have a couple. Cresswell needs to be played. Hey, Paul, what did I miss? You didn't miss anything, mate. Well, we have. It's been 27 minutes, mate. Just go back and have a watch. But yeah, I think for me, Ampadu's we get Ampadu back in there. It's decent. Now, I think I've got it up here. Let me just have a quick look. Right, I want to show you something. Anyway, let's move on. How far is Pascal? He must be close, surely. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? But it was a big injury. I got told by a pretty decent source that at the start they were talking. I think Farker was talking about 3 to 4 weeks, and it was never going to be that. I think it's an adductor injury, isn't it? So he's basically knackered it. So it was always going to be longer. Let's hope we see him back for the remainder of the season. Brandon, there wasn't supposed to be sound there, mate. It was a poignant moment where I just wanted to see something. um, a midfield, but come on, hey, if we get back there, come on. We'll leave it at that. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you on the other side. Please make sure you're liking the video. I'm going to be there at Stoke if one of you wants a pint of beer or whatever. I don't know where I'm sat in the South Stand, aren't I? Yeah, sat in the South Stand. But great to meet some of you. I'll be posting on socials throughout the day anyway, keeping you updated on where I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure to see some of you. Guys, thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you want some bonus content, head on over to the Patreon. If you want to become a member, it'd help me out massively. Just hit that join button, and we will see you on the other side, guys. Cheers.